All right, we should be live. We should be on air right now. And let's see what we got. Yeah, we're just going to break right into it.
Friends, that's more than they had made in total since 1957. Keep that in mind, by the way, if you ever see a Wall Street Journal op-ed trying to paint these workers as greedy for wanting to be paid fairly, or fear-mongering about the inflation that these sorts of strikes could cause. There would be no inflation if companies didn't raise their prices, and they clearly have the profit margins there to not do that. But anyway, in this video, I want to take a step back from this specific case and get a little bit more general.
Hold up, I want to see something real quick. Boom. 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 Boom.
Settings. Let's see if they magically change behind my back.
See, bro, why is this such low resolution, dude?
Oh my god, whatever, dude. I'm
Dude.
gonna wrap this thing up.
This isn't even the right one.
And I'm gonna show this graph because I think it's really important to see.
No
So you can
thanks.
understand.
They're showing the Super Bowl on YouTube.
Settings.
Unbelievable.
Let's see if they
Maybe I'm not allowed to see it. Am I allowed to see it? Do 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 do. Makes your heart break so easily. See, I don't know if this is the video that's laggy or my computer that's laggy.
See, I don't know if this is the
Hold
video
on.
that's laggy or my computer that's laggy. See, I don't know if this is the video that's laggy or my computer that's laggy.
You're just another part of me. You're just another part of me. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, hold on. You're just another part of me. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, hold on. The plan is lining up. We're due for brighter days. I forget what the other line is. The plan is lining up. We're due for brighter days. I'm having too much fun. And it's like, I think we're at probably like 12 frames a second. I'm having too much fun. And it's like, I think we're at probably like 12 frames a second. All right, I'm wrapping this. Well, I'm not wrapping this up. I'm going to go over here and maybe this will look a little better.
How exactly unions are able to do amazing things like this.
So we're going to get off this woke guy. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let's find someone less woke. What does Elon Musk want? You know what? We're going to listen to a take from a U.S. government asset. Well, not really. I mean, he's a pretty soft asset. I'd say he's mostly independent. He's actually entirely independent. He still has some strings attached, though. You know, for the most part, though. You know, not too bad. Let's see. Boomers, Gen Xers, and budgeting. I mean, this is like boring stuff that you probably wouldn't want to watch, but this is how you get really good insights on the system of the world. I mean, I'd give him like probably 3 stars. He used to have 5, but he made some comments about Edward Snowden that kind of threw me off a bit. You know, we got he talks a lot about demography. He was a big guy in the space of demography. For people who don't know, demography has to do with population growth and shrinkage, has to do with, if you've heard talk on the birth rates, that is a relevant thing that does affect economy, not only economy, but affects where capital goes. And that's exactly what this video is referencing. I can probably summarize exactly what this would be. And that would be that the boomers are in retirement phase of things, which means that they aren't in a consumer oriented mindset. They're in a more conservative fiscally conservative mindset, meaning that all of that consumption coming from them that would help boost the economy, bolster the economy, especially in terms of manufacturing, right, or services. Like they're probably not going to be buying any new cars anytime soon. They're probably not going to buy a new house. They're probably not really buying new things, and therefore the newer working generations don't have that market to sell to anymore. And that's a big problem because they're like the richest generation of all time, the biggest buyers of all time. So not having them in the pool will mean less capital flow to newer generations. And then the Gen Xers, you probably mentioned them a little bit. Those are people, I think, born like, I think it's like 64 to 85 maybe would be a Gen Xer, and then 85 to 96 somewhat would be, I guess, millennials, and then like to 2000s like millennials, and then onwards like Gen X. I mean, it's like, or Gen Z, sorry, it's like kind of blurry, but anyway, Gen Xers are probably in late stage parenthood at this point. My parents are like kind of a mix of boomers and Gen Xers, like they're kind of between those two lines. So I am no longer in the house, so all that consumption that came from me, right? Think about all the extra food they had to buy, even something as simple as having healthcare for me and needing to drive me to soccer practices and all that gas money that comes with that, and buying me clothes, all the economic benefits and the consumption that comes from that. Once that goes away, their spending starts to drop a lot, and basically their consumption doesn't help the economy as much, and therefore you cannot make things and sell it to them as much. And that's really what it's going to be mostly about. Budgeting is probably the thing specifically they'll be focusing on. Saving wise, you become a lot more frugal, and basically just it's the same thing I've been saying. If you're more frugal, that means less money goes to the newer generations and the work that they do, and that's kind of like a big main thing that he does. He talks a lot about geopolitics. That's why his literal name is Zion on Global Politics or Geopolitics, which essentially has to do with the movement of, I guess, macroeconomics, or just like the movement of product. You could think of it something as simple as coal or oil, and the diplomacy involved with that, the trade involved with that, what's going on with the Middle East. Is Saudi with us or are they against us? What's going on with Venezuela? Are they with us or against us? Donald Trump seems to be against Venezuela and against even, for the most part, I think the Middle East. I think he wants to cut a few deals for like, Germany and Europe, because he doesn't want any deals done with Russia. The whole point is to economically sanction them. The problem is if you economically sanction Russia, which is something he talked about, you don't have gas, which is what you need for heat. And Europe was having, and still is having, problems with that. Their electricity and heat is through the roof. And these are all things that he just talked about. These are like big things that affect the economy at a macro level. People don't understand the scale of which oil is. I mean, you got to drive to work. Everything in the store had to be trucked. All of the lights in the store had to be turned on. All the heating in any store you've ever been in, or in office spaces, or in your own home, needs to be powered by gas. And that's really kind of the stuff he talks about. He talks also about, the ideal U.S. alliance. So what would it look like? What countries do we want on our side? What countries don't we want on our side? So this is like where you can get good insights. Understand also he's like somewhat, I guess you could call him, I don't know if you'd call him an economist, but his worldview may not be so much skewed towards the benefit of the middle and lower classes, more so of the top. But regardless, it's having a good comprehension and understanding what they want, what they're looking for, is a great way to understand where to position, or where we should position ourselves. So yeah, it's just useful information, I would say. Maritime shipping, attack in New Orleans, how does that affect, they're a port, a port city. How does that affect them? Do people move out? Do people, it's like stuff like that. Chinese drone ban export. If they're not selling us drones anymore, that means we got to make our own drones. That comes with a cost. It might come with a government incentive, so on and so forth. And, tax incentives is a big thing. Bringing back manufacturing. There's one that's pretty interesting on Ohio, and really just like the Midwest in general. The future of Ohio, manufacturing growth and political shifts. I believe this one he talks a lot about the CHIPS Act, which is like a $52 billion budget that the government gave out. And people understand a $52 billion grant from the government that is bigger than like 90% of Fortune 500 companies. Like we're dealing with like the U.S. government. People don't understand the wealth and scale of the U.S. government. It's the largest company in the world, 100-fold. You know, they spend I think $6 trillion a year or something along those lines. So, you know, Apple I think spends like $200 billion, and they're the largest company I believe, or maybe Nvidia now. But regardless, we're dealing at a much larger scale when you talk about the U.S. government giving out chips. So it's like good to know about. The black sheep of American shale. I'm sure this is like about a specific state that has oil, or it looks like Ohio. So yeah, it's a lot more pragmatic. What many people would consider boring stuff, but you know, I've been on this topic for like 10 minutes now, so I'll move on. And I just don't get this crap, man. Why is it operating in 3500K for 3500 bits? Or whatever. You know, shouldn't it be way higher than that? I just don't understand computers, man. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. And I'm just not sure if that's on my end with the Wi-Fi or if that's on my computer's end for being slow. I think it might be on probably a combination of the two, to be honest. I mean, my Wi-Fi is probably pretty quick right now, but you know, regardless, it's not ideal. So I think I'm just going to wrap this up. I just wanted to see the quality on the screen there. And let me just play one.